We've come to cool off at Crystal Cascades. Apparently there's some beautiful waterfalls and swimming holes down this path, 1.2 kilometres. Even I'm going for a swim here today. There's lots of swimming holes and extra waterfalls between here and the car park. This just looks absolutely enticing. That was fantastic. It was cold. It took a little while to get in there, but once we were in, just so lovely. Lots of other people enjoying the falls now too. How was it, Jess? I've been moving around a bit today as I've been working on this capability map. This is it. This is the final editing push that I'm in the middle of right now before sending it out to the steering group. So I've got 2 lots of working group leader feedback to incorporate, both with lots of commentary. I have one query that I had open around consistency of describing coaching and development of skills across the capability map, but the guidance back from Don has been basically to leave it alone, so that shouldn't be too hard to undo. And then there's actually, so that's 3 skills, and then there's actually 2 skills where I haven't got the submission yet from the working group leader, so I've asked them to get that to me today, and I'll just pop it in whatever form it's in. It'll just have to do in whatever state it's in right now. So one of the challenges that I've had has been because we've used different working groups, and probably, we didn't give them a lot of guidance up front about the level of detail. We did tell them how many words we were looking for roughly, a little bit about writing behavioural statements, but beyond that we didn't give them a lot of specific guidance. So we've gotten back quite a variety of types of responses in terms of level of detail, the way things have been phrased, and whether things that are kind of more generic and common throughout. So for instance, selecting technology and tools to use for a particular skill area, how we want those treated. So in some instances I haven't done much editing, in others I've kind of tried to do more editing to create some alignment and consistency so that it doesn't look too much of a patchwork, so that there's some flow and consistency. But I think I took it too far with a couple of the skill descriptions, and in fact I know I did. I got that feedback from working group leaders, so I'm just rolling back to their original descriptions now and just making some less vigorous edits, shall we say, just being a bit softer with the editing and seeing if the steering group comes up with any feedback on that. I've also grappled with this, integration of skills. So in order to execute one skill, you need to apply another skill. So, for instance, evaluation and data analytics would be one example. And I've tried as far as possible to keep the skills elemental, to keep them separate, but that's not always appropriate nor effective. But I have wrestled a bit with that. Okay, another thing that's been challenged is continuing working with soft copy, where there's a lot of comments and feedback, queries, responses, notes on edits. So I've actually printed out for a couple of these skills that I need to unwind. I've gone and printed out the comments. It's just too hard to work with Word in some cases. I've tried to be respectful of the effort that the working groups have put in and the expertise they brought to the table, while also making sure that things are clear, concise, easy to apply and follow. I hope I've got the balance right. We'll see. Now I'm just going to get on with it and knock this over. So with the exception of the 2 overdue skill descriptions, I've got everything else in that draft capability map ready to go. There's still comments against a couple of them. I'll leave the comments there. I've highlighted them. Either the working group leaders get back to me and we resolve them, or they get resolved by the steering group. I actually managed to get that done relatively quickly this afternoon. But since that time, apart from having dinner, I've been working on preparation for the steering group meeting. And I've had to think through how to gather feedback on the draft capability map, which contains 25 skill descriptions, in a way that I was going to be able to turn around and use to prepare for the steering group meeting fairly quickly. So I've been working on a survey which I've divided up into a number of sections. So I want feedback on the suggested titles for the list of skills and categories and any changes to those. We've got 8 principles we defined to guide the development of the capability maps. I want to know if the steering group thinks they've been met. We had some generic skill level descriptions. There's 4 levels and there's some issues with a couple of those that were raised. Any other feedback and agenda items for the meeting. And of course, if anyone really wants to sit there and review the descriptions of all of these skills, or some of them if they've got a particular interest, they're welcome to do that and to put comments directly into version 14, the draft copy of the skill description that I'm going to circulate.